Okay, Dead Sea Scrolls. I believe this is part 7 or something like that. I should have looked. It's been a while since I did this. Been busy. But the past 7 days, right here where I'm sitting, this is the edge of my bed. There's been a baby lamb, about a very small, might be about 2 weeks old by now. But she could not. Her mother couldn't feed her anymore. Another video. And so it had been cold. She had been chilled. Chilled lamb, they lose their body temperature, they go hypothermic, and they die. But I caught this one. I was able to save this one. But I had to bottle feed. Took her from my mother. Had to bottle feed her, and she's been in a container at night because it's too cold outside. Just in my bed here, and I had to feed her 2 times every night. So I haven't got a full night's sleep. I don't know how long. But it's warmer now. She's doing really good, and I kicked her butt out last night, so I get a full night's sleep. Anyhow, this is a short one here, but I might tie it into. It's nice to live alone again. Okay. This is scrolls and their translations. This is just a short one here. Scholars and historians spent years unraveling the language of the texts in order to provide translations of as many fragments as possible. Some were so damaged that scholars despaired over ever being able to decipher them. But time, hard work, and the advent of new technologies led to greater understanding. Today, there are a number of places one can view the scrolls and their translations. The Leon Levy Digital Library, under the umbrella of the Israel Antiquities Authority, offers visitors to the site the opportunity to gaze upon hundreds of scrolls and fragments. The digital library includes infrared photographs of the scrolls and images developed with the latest high-tech scanning techniques. Users are treated to literal translations of the scrolls alongside the very piece of antiquity they are viewing. Excerpts from the 3 of the scrolls in the library's collection are shown here alongside the translations of the Hebrew words written thousands of years ago. Let's see here if I can show this. Well, it says here, it shows this piece of it here. This is the Genesis scroll. Was found in the first cave at Qumran. I got to remember how to pronounce all this stuff again. And dates from 30 BCE. Anyhow, it is written in Hebrew. And they're stating here that it says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was formless and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." Genesis 1 through 2. And they're stating that's what's being said right here. I'll just show you the pictures of these so you can kind of get an idea what some of these look like. And there's pretty rough. That one is the Psalm scroll, written in Hebrew. It includes a passage not found in the Bible indicating King David as the author of the book of Psalms. Another one here down below. You see the shape this one here is in. The earliest copy of the 10 Commandments was found among the scrolls in Cave 4 in 1952. It dates back to the 1st century and was among the last of the scrolls found and translated. Okay, here's another chapter here. Who really wrote the scrolls? Some controversy exists around who authored the scrolls, but most scholars agree the evidence points to the Essenes. Evidence that the Dead Sea Scrolls were written and maintained by the Essene community at Qumran is compelling. In natural history, Pliny the Elder places Essenes along the western shore of the Dead Sea. Furthermore, he cites 2 unique traits of the Essenes. They did not use currency, and there were no women in the group. The Qumran manuscripts document these traits, which are singular to the Essenes and not any other Jewish group of the time. Further evidence of the connection between the Essenes and the scrolls is ancient writings by Pliny and Josephus, who say that the Essenes had the same theology and the same practices as those described in many of the scrolls. But not everyone agrees with the long-held conventional thinking that the Qumran Essenes of the first centuries wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls. Some writers believe Qumran was a community of Sadducees, a sect of Jews that existed from the 2nd century until the Roman conquests in 70 CE. However, let's do that again. From the 2nd century until the Roman conquest in 70 CE. However, in the meaning of the Dead Sea Scrolls, I mean that's in quotes. It's a book. Authors James Vanderkam and Peter Flint compare the religious beliefs of the Qumran community and those described to the Sadducees by ancient texts, and discover a number of fundamental contradictions. According to Josephus, the Essenes were ardent proponents of fate, while the Sadducees denied fate completely. The scrolls promote the concept of predestination and are therefore clearly not Sadducean in theology. In addition, the scrolls echo the Essenes' belief in life after death, including a resurrection of the faithful. Acts 23:8 of the New Testament, however, reveals Sadducees say there is no resurrection and that there are neither angels nor spirits. These are the contradictions between the two. Another view held by several scholars maintains that the scrolls are the work of many different groups in ancient Judaism. The texts represent a diverse range of Jewish thinking at the time, rather than the philosophy of a single individual or group. According to the theory, the scrolls were housed in a libraries, or even in personal collections in Jerusalem. In 66 CE, tensions between the Jewish population in Judea and the Roman Empire erupted into the First Roman-Jewish War. Anti-tax protest and attacks upon Roman citizens had led to swift reprisals by Roman military garrisons, which in turn resulted in full-blown Jewish rebellion. When Jerusalem's citizens realized Roman forces would attack the city to quell the uprising, they hastily gathered up the manuscripts and smuggled them out of Jerusalem. The scrolls were hidden throughout the Judean frontier, including the caves near Qumran. Norman Golb, a University of Chicago professor of Jewish history and a scrolls scholar, is one of the foremost proponents of the Jerusalem theory. Archaeologist Robert Cargill supports the idea that the scrolls could have been written by groups of different Jews. However, Lawrence Schiffman, formerly a professor of Hebrew and Judaic studies at New York University and now vice provost for the undergraduate education at Yeshiva University, isn't buying into the multiple origin theory of the Dead Sea Scrolls. In quotes, the reason is that most of the scrolls fit a coherent theme and hang together, end quote, Schiffman says. If the scrolls were brought from some other place, presumably by some other groups of Jews, you would expect to find items that fit the ideologies of groups that are in disagreement with the Essenes. And it's not there, Schiffman says. About the only thing rival theorists do agree upon is that the fascination and controversy regarding the Dead Sea Scrolls will continue for decades to come. I think we'll wrap that up there. Who really wrote the scrolls? It's really not telling us, but it gives us a couple of theories there. And next we'll get into nations in flux. Live, God bless.